Hello and welcome to another episode where we discuss social media listening. Our goal is to make better supply chains for US and Canada and also to ensure more local manufacturing. And it is a bit interesting because we are making it while sitting in India. I spend most of my adult life in US. Ramesh, while has been in India, has been we have been working together on several issues. But essentially, our goal is to sort of cherish the values of free world. And in that context, we are discussing how to get information and how to do it ethically and legally to build a stronger America.
Yeah,
Right. So, coming to this, Ramesh, so we previously discussed Facebook. Now, I would say the one other important platform, at least for me, a very big platform is Twitter. And I
yeah.
use it to complain. I used to say how several things have been wronged in Indian science. It hasn't really helped. I wish I probably just didn't open my mouth, but I have used that to even share ideas. I've used both Facebook and Twitter, not just LinkedIn, to even get people to work together on various exciting projects. Um, so Twitter is an interesting format. If you can be succinct, it can be very effective.
Yes.
So Twitter, tell me a little bit about the platform in itself. I mean, it has now, I think, more characters than it used to, but it's still uh, short, but I think maybe suitable for the times where attention spans are low. How is Twitter fundamentally a different platform than Facebook?
So Twitter is officially classified as what you call a microblogging platform. So therefore,
Hmm.
every tweet that you put out is technically a blog in itself. It used to be 140 characters, but in the last 2 years, it has become 280, uh, which is okay. Some people are more verbose; they're probably happier with it. But it created an entire culture of actually managing to say things within 140 characters. Sometimes people had whole Twitter chains of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 16, 17, 32, 46 tweets, where they would go on a complete rant or an analysis or whatever. The fundamental difference between Twitter and the others is Twitter was meant to be a public platform. Every tweet you put out, unless you actually classify your account as private, every tweet that you put out is public property. It's there on the Twitter platform for anyone and everyone to see. And within a few years of its launch, Twitter also adopted the hashtag as a permanent feature. The hashtag is a beautiful invention because you can then classify your tweets with a hashtag, and then when people search with the hashtag, they're more likely to see that hashtag. And now, because Twitter publishes trending hashtags, it's very tempting to therefore add those tempting hashtags to your trending hashtags to your tweets to get more noticeability. So the more retweeted you are, the more viral you become. Likes don't matter much. If lots of people liked your tweet, it's not much. But if lots of people retweeted you, then that's a sign of influence.
What do
Uh,
you mean likes don't matter much?
if I like your tweet, that's fine. That's between me and you. That does not get my tweet a new audience. But if I retweeted what you had tweeted, it means it goes out to all my followers who may not necessarily be following you. So there may be some overlap, but it reaches a whole new audience, right?
Hmm.
So the important thing on Twitter is to get retweeted a great deal, and so therefore there are some people who've emerged as what you call Twitter influencers, who have millions of followers, whose every tweet is something to die on.
Hmm.
So, like, I think the most famous Twitter influencer, I think who's now shifted much of her energies to Instagram, though, is Kim Kardashian. The
I want to beat her one day on Twitter. I've been unsuccessfully trying it, and initially I had a moment of celebration when I crossed 100 followers.
yes,
With a lot of effort, I'm at 3,000. So it'll take me just another 5,000 years to beat her.
yes. So if she endorses a brand, it's seen that its sales actually go up. So the role of a Twitter influencer, they've become mini celebrities in their own right. They're not on TV, they're not on films, but they're not in the news. But there are lots of influencers on Twitter, so they carry a lot of weight. Whether they're posting about travel, whether they're posting about food or lifestyle or fashion, many people follow these influencers. So Twitter has these clusters basically. Uh, Again, the 1990 model, where the 1% are really what these influencers are, the 9% are their super mega fans who are sharing everything, and the 90% who are really just consuming all this data. So some influencers become so popular, and the line between celebs and influencers is often blurred. So not all celebs are influencers and not all influencers are celebs, but some like Kim Kardashian are both. And she is so influential that in fact there is the Kim Kardashian index of stocks, that can be affected by what she says about them. If she endorses a product, its sales rise and its stock price rises. And were she ever to complain about a product, there would be market mayhem. So that's the platform for you. In the recent times, interestingly, Twitter has sadly evolved into a very, very polarized medium. With, I think, there are now Twitter armies of Democrats and Republicans, and in the UK, maybe Corbynites and Johnsonites, and similarly the radical people in most other countries. So who's that Italian guy? Matteo Salvini. He has his own dedicated army. The Five Star Movement has its army. So I think today Twitter has now become more of an ideological battleground. And where it used to be a platform for sharing memes and funny takes on life and other things, now it has effectively become a purely political playing ground.
So yeah, but in terms of you said about these influencers and whatnot, and that your liking doesn't matter unless you're retweeting it. I
Yeah.
do believe that even if you like, right, some of your followers would get shown that tweet. So what I've seen is if the tweet is not even retweeted a lot, right, it can appear on random people's sort of main
Yeah.
page on their homepage. So the algorithm, to the best of my understanding, has a component which counts in likes also. So coming to this, I believe Twitter can be an excellent platform for understanding supply chain and local manufacturing issues from two or three different points of views. One is people directly using it to complain because Twitter is a complaint platform.
Yes.
I have used it a lot. Which bank didn't offer me the right service, where I didn't get the right refund, and obviously the services have depended on the country because in India people don't care if you complain. In US brands are more conscious, and if it's their mistake, they actually half the time at least rectify. I'm not saying everything is fine and dandy in US. There are several issues, but brands are more conscious of their image, and they do tend to rectify if you complain on Twitter.
It,
Um,
it's also an easier platform to complain because see, if on Facebook, if you want to complain to a brand, you would have to go to the brand's community page,
yeah.
and then if the brand allows you to write a direct post, you could write a post. If it doesn't, then you have to pick any of the brand's random posts and post a complaint on the comment section, and kind of is on a hope and a prayer that the brand will respond to you. On Twitter, it's very easy. You just tag the brand's hashtag, not sorry. You just tag the brand's handle, and you write your complaint, and the brand will immediately respond to you. So it makes complaining easier, and therefore most brands actually focus a lot of their reputation management on Twitter compared to other platforms.
Yeah. So number one is figuring out what is the shortage, what is the complaint. Second is understanding other patterns of politics, which Twitter can be a great platform for understanding patterns of violence, understanding climate related issues, somebody got flooded, right? All those things,
Yes.
both weather and climate related issues. So Twitter can be a good platform for that. Last but not least, I mean, it is again a link sharing platform, right? So based on the news people are sharing, even if they're not actively directly complaining or telling you something, you can see their priorities,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
So I think there are three different things. Uh, but in Twitter, the history of old tweets, how much is it scrapable, right? Because every platform has certain things that, uh, because they, again, Twitter, Facebook, they are making money through A, advertising, and B, their data. They're selling
Yes.
anonymized data based on the guidelines, and doing it ethically. Especially, I don't think Twitter had as many controversies as Facebook. So I think Jack Dorsey has been more part of the woke culture than Mark Zuckerberg. So I'm not saying it's entirely controversy free. No social media platform can be free of any complaints, but it's been relatively, I think, unscathed.
So,
Can you
think,
think of anything major with Twitter?
well, one of the things is privacy is a major concern. Since nothing that you really say on Twitter is private, there are no safe spaces. Twitter has a huge bullying problem. There are, there can be
Right.
racial attacks on you, gender attacks on you. The famous Gamergate scandal was mostly on Twitter. Many other,
The voice.
okay, sorry. Yeah, like the if those of you who know the Gamergate scandal, that was mostly on Twitter because uh, female gamers were targeted by older, whiter males. Then it is also a place to say any old thing because Twitter does not censor as much as Facebook is nowadays doing, and therefore, yes, several studies have shown that female users feel a lot more unsafe on Twitter. So it has its share of controversies. But it's, yes, the very first tweet to date can all be scraped. It is pretty open a platform that way.
Hmm. So, okay. Now, in terms of being able to mine things, so what people who have done scraping for me, they tell that scraping things from Twitter which are older, that's a bit of a problem. So obviously every platform has to make money, so they make certain things more readily visible, other things less readily visible. You can have actually on websites tools to prevent scraping, right? Some,
Yes.
so all those things. So what Twitter offers, I mean, real-time analytics of Twitter again is a very valuable platform. And
Yes, absolutely.
so um, there doesn't exist another microblogging platform also like Twitter. So it will remain, at least in the foreseeable future, an important source of information to understand how people are responding to change needs. And given that
Yes.
what Ramesh said, even about brand endorsing, right? What brands are going to be hot, which ones are not, is going to be there on Twitter as much as it's going to be there on Facebook. So I think we'll say bye for this episode. We had
Yeah.
a good, interesting discussion, and we'll reconvene next time discussing another social media platform.
Right.
Okay,
So
bye
thank
bye.
you, Sukant. Bye.
Bye.